What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. Now, today, in some kind of utter act of desperation, I don't know what in the hell the Biden administration was thinking by doing this, but if you're trying to stay out of your political rivals' affairs, right? If you're not trying to make it look like you've turned a country like the United States into some sort of banana republic, you're going to stay out of your political rivals' affairs, right? You're not going to send some crony down to his trial to go give a press conference to fearmonger to the entire world or anybody who's paying attention to tell them that this guy that Joe Biden has put on trial is going to destroy the country, y'all. He's going to end democracy. He's going to be a freaking dictator for life.
A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
Yeah, so Joe Biden, it's like they're getting to the point of desperation where they don't care anymore, right? So far, he's done good with trying to stay out of making it look like he's interfering with the election. Trying to make it look, oh no, I'm not touching none of this. Joe Biden has nothing to do with persecuting his political rival whatsoever. He's not trying to turn this into a banana republic, but it's getting so bad for the Biden administration with the polls. They've been down in the polls for a long time now. It's not looking good for Joe Biden. People are worried about the economy. People are worried about the open, broken border that we have. That is a broken system because Joe Biden has just allowed so many people to come across that stinking border, right? And people don't like it. And the polls are showing it. Poll after poll after poll shows that the most important issue for voters coming up is immigration and the economy. And Joe Biden is losing on both of those. So he's getting desperate. So he sends Robert Deniro down there. And Robert Deniro is fear-mongering to everybody. Like, what are you doing, man? Telling people he's going to be a dictator for life? Come on now. I'm hyperbolic a lot of times. I say, oh, Joe Biden is destroying the country. I say that a lot because it's the truth. He's not physically destroying the country, of course. But if we look at the economy, we look at all the numbers, we look at the border, we look at the freaking world is on fire. He's had these wars going on. Of course, Joe Biden didn't start the wars. I understand that. You don't have to preach to the freaking choir to me. But we had no new wars under Donald Trump. There were no wars started under Trump, for goodness sakes. But look at what we've got, everything we're dealing with, everything the Biden administration has done. I cannot stress this enough. The Biden White House, the Biden administration, the FBI had back doors to the social media platforms and were shutting conservative voices down. An absolute violation of the First Amendment. And I'm going to continue to remind people of this until the freaking cows come home. Or at least until November. Because that is one of the most egregious acts by a sitting U.S. president in United States history. An act against the Constitution, against his own people, trying to shut them down on social media so they can't have their voices heard. Like I said, I cannot stress enough how bad that looks for Joe Biden. And the corporate press, the mainstream narrative machine, gloss right over that and tell you to go out there and vote for Joe Biden. Don't vote for an evil dictator, right? People keep calling him a fascist. Can anybody show me any act, anything Donald Trump has ever done that was fascistic? Somebody, please prove that to me right here, right now. I know, not right here, right now. Leave something in the comments. You know, link a video, something that proves Donald Trump is a fascist and that proves Joe Biden is good for this country. Because I promise you, you can't find a damn thing. And this whole Trump hush money trial has been an absolute kangaroo court. We've went story after story just showing how skewed this whole thing is, right? First, they started off with the damn David Pecker testimony, which was irrelevant, by the way. Talking about this catch and kill scheme and doing all this stuff and trying to quash stories, which is normal politics, by the way. Trying to flood the jury with all this stuff that Trump done that's not illegal to try to prove something else that's totally irrelevant, right? Then you had Stormy Daniels come in acting all crazy and using all the Me Too buzzwords, trying to get the jury to think, oh, Trump raped her. Right? Even though she said this.
And first I asked her why she had sex with Trump. Listen to that. And then listen to what she says after that. And then we're going to talk about the trial because it's quite at variance of what she said to me in 2018. Why did you Donald Trump?
I have no idea.
Okay, but you say it's not a Me Too case.
It is not a Me Too case. I mean, I wasn't assaulted. I wasn't attacked or raped or coerced or blackmailed. They tried to shove me in the Me Too box to further their own agenda. And first of all, I didn't want any part of that because it's not the truth, and I'm not a victim in that regard.
That's not what she's saying now. She's talking about he was bigger and blocking the way. It's all the Me Too buzzwords. She said there was a power imbalance of power, for sure. My hands were shaking so hard. She said she blacked out. Blacked out? She's a porn star. I don't think sex...
That doesn't mean she's been subjected to the likes of Donald Trump. I might black out too.
Do you really think she blacked out? I mean, a porn star is used to having sex with people she does not know. That's the job. It's kind of like Stormy Bob Stormy.
But then you get Michael Cohen on the freaking stand admitting to stealing $30,000 from the Trump organization, just minimal $30,000, right? He got reimbursed by taxes on that, so it could be upwards of $60,000 provable. That's not to mention anything else he may or may not have stolen. We just don't know. You got somebody like that who's a convicted perjurer, and he is the crux of your case? Yeah, I don't think this case has any merit to it whatsoever. I've said that outright before. But today, closing arguments, right? Now, I'll say just for a bit of context as to where I'm coming from on this one. I'm not a lawyer. Never been a lawyer, didn't go to law school, never been interested in the law, by the way. But my wife worked for the district attorney, the local district attorney here in Southwest Louisiana for 15 years. She was a trial assistant for 7.5 years. In other words, she was right there with the prosecutor, prosecuting cases. She's done like over 100 trials, I believe. But she's been in the courtroom a lot. And I saw this headline. I read the first paragraph and I said, this seems odd. So I go to her and show it to her and say, hey, what do you think about this? Judge Merchan slams Trump's lawyer's outrageous comment. Check this out, y'all. Judge Merchan chastised Donald Trump's attorney Todd Blanche during closing arguments Tuesday in the ex-president's hush money criminal trial. Blanche, according to sources in the courtroom, told the jury that Trump could be imprisoned if they convicted him. Now, when I asked the old lady, when I told her, I made her read that paragraph out. I said, is there anything abnormal about a defense attorney in a closing argument telling the jury that his client could go to jail? Please don't put my client in jail. She said, no, that happens all the time. As a matter of fact, they would be derelict in their duty if they didn't do every single thing they could to try to keep their client from going to jail if they believe their client is innocent, of course. She said, Why would they think that? I said, I have no idea. This whole thing is a kangaroo court, for God's sakes. That was outrageous, Mr. Blanche, Mershon said. Someone who's been a prosecutor as long as you have, someone who's been an attorney as long as you have, knows that it's highly inappropriate. Huh? It's highly inappropriate. Now, just for proof, like I said, I showed this to the old lady who's been in 100 or so criminal trials on the side of the prosecutor. She said just about every single one of them has mentioned something to similar effect in every single trial she's seen. She said this is totally normal. But that just goes to show exactly how skewed this court is, how conflicted, as Trump would say, this judge is, how just messed up this whole trial is. This thing is just so outrageous with all the testimony we've heard, all the BS, all the packing of the jury, packing the information. There's so much reasonable doubt in this case. You could literally fill up the New York Giants football stadium, for God's sakes, with reasonable doubt. If the jury comes back with a guilty, we're going to know something's wild with this, right? This is, at minimal, got to be a mistrial, if not an outright acquittal. Because this whole thing is just insane. Even getting to the Bob Costello, that totally contradicted Michael Cohen's testimony and would, in a normal court, probably exonerate Donald Trump. But they shut Bob Costello down. Every time Bob Costello started answering a question, the prosecutor would say, "Objection, Your Honor," and the judge would just say "sustained" right off the top. Absolutely crazy. Just, that's why they got into that whole spat with the judge saying, "Are you trying to stare me down?" to Bob Costello. Because Bob Costello's over here trying to answer questions. He's telling his story. "Objection, Your Honor," every time Bob Costello said something. "Objection." And so Bob Costello finally got aggravated, as somebody normally would, because they're not letting him answer questions. Why the hell did they even call him to the stand? So he's like looking back and forth like, what? What's going on? So Juan Mershon went absolutely apeshit, made everybody leave the courtroom, and admonished Bob Costello for staring him down because they wouldn't let Bob Costello answer or speak the truth. Would not let him exonerate President Trump. That proves it outright that this whole thing is skewed, that judge is conflicted, and Elise Stefanik, by the way, filed ethics complaints against this guy. Hopefully something is done with that, because anybody with a rational mind who is unbiased that looks at this will see something funny going on here. Funny is putting it lightly. But let's continue. The judge then said that he would provide curative instruction to the jury when they returned from their break. Newsweek's Catherine Fung, who is inside the courtroom, reported that Mershon addressed the jury upon their return from break, providing instruction about Blanche's prison comment and informed them that he will be the one to decide sentencing. What? Of course he'd be the one to decide sentencing. But because the defense attorney happened to mention that his client might go to jail, please don't put him in jail, all of a sudden, that's inappropriate, y'all. I would like to know how. They don't tell you. Juan Mershon's not going to tell you how that's inappropriate. They're just using every single excuse. As a matter of fact, this isn't even an excuse. It's just insanity. Outright insanity. And like I said, normally, if my wife wouldn't have been a trial assistant for a long time, I would never know. I would think, oh, well, that may be normal. Logically, it's not normal, right? Like, of course the defense attorney, but you got decorum in the courtroom and everything, and maybe that is inappropriate. But when I asked her, right, like, she's been in many, many trials, like I said, and she said this is totally normal. They do this all the damn time. New York might be different than Louisiana. I don't know, but it sure doesn't seem like it would be that out of the question to say something like that. Just nuts, y'all. Mershon's remarks toward Blanche occurred after prosecutor Joshua Steinglass raised an issue with Blanche's prison comment. "Objection, Your Honor. Sustained. You can't tell him your client might go to jail," as if they don't already know. right? Like, as if that's not completely apparent to everybody that's sitting on the jury, that he could possibly go to jail, as if nobody ever watches news, as if nobody ever knows that this whole thing is just outright rigged. Carol Lieberman, a forensic psychiatrist based in New York, told Newsweek that Mershon is selling the deal for an appeal by his outrage at Blanche. Oh my God, yeah, they're right. It almost seems like Mershon is trying to get this overturned on appeal because of so many, just all the malfeasance going on here with all the objections and sustainments and all this other BS, packing the jury's head full of BS that doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant to the case. It's just like, what's really going on here? Taking everything away. Just take a step back and look at everything. God, by God, this thing is skewed. The jury presumably knows that Trump could go to jail if he's convicted, since they are not sequestered, and it has been all over the news that Trump could end up in jail. It wasn't a surprise to hear he could end up in jail. That's right. It's not a surprise. So why would Juan Mershon say it's inappropriate, y'all? And then getting Robert Deniro to do a freaking press conference and try to scream and tell everybody that if we vote Trump back in again, we're not going to have a country, y'all. That he's going to erase democracy from the dictionary. I don't know. It just, to me, it looks so damn desperate that you're actually... Joe Biden has the nerve to get involved with this trial by sending Robert De Niro down there to go fearmonger to the people. It's just outright insanity. I don't know what you think, but let me know down in the comments what you guys think about all this, because to me, this just blows my mind. It just shows that Joe Biden doesn't give a damn about norms in this country, doesn't give a damn about the rule of law, although my archive of videos prove that outright without this video. But y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.